Did you know that Robert Baratheon in the books was Diddy incarnate? In this video, I will mention 3 cases word for word from the books with literal references, but make sure to not hear the third case if you are someone of inappropriate age or who gets easily offended. Although Robert from the series displays countless lustful acts, such as banging prostitutes fully knowing that Jaime Lannister, whom is his brother-in-law, stands guard outside his chambers, the book Robert takes it an extra mile by making sure he moans extra hard while using inappropriate language to make sure that Jaime literally hates his very existence. However, what people do not know is that the reason Robert is so butthurt and acts this way is due to the fact that his wife, Cersei, sexually deprives him. The books explain this to us in 2 occasions, with the first being during one of the many weird conversations that Cersei Lannister has with Eddard Stark of Winterfell. In the books, Cersei lets Ned know that she only gets Robert off through oral means, and when confronted with incest, she admits it by saying that Jaime and her shared a womb together. Jaime came onto life by holding her little foot, and that when he is inside of her, she truly feels the joys of living. Robert himself also admits to Ned Stark, who became their therapist at this point, and he did so by literally saying the following: "When it comes to Cersei, I have Jon Arryn to thank for. Honestly, he was the smartest man I knew, but sometimes he acted as if he was the biggest fool in the 7 kingdoms. He told me a marriage with her would bind Lord Tywin and his gold to me. And don't get me wrong, she is lovely to look at, but the way she guards her cunt, one would think she has all the gold of Casterly Rock inside it." Another reason as to why Cersei hates Robert so much is his mistreatment of their alleged son, Joffrey Baratheon. However, to Robert's defense, Joffrey wasn't exactly the brightest when it came to heirs and princes. During one occasion in the books, Robert slapped Joffrey so hard that everyone thought the boy had died on the spot. We learn this from Stannis Baratheon when he tells the following to Sir Davos Seaworth. Apparently, after seeing how much his father loved hunting and growing up hearing stories about the rebellion and his great deeds of valor, Prince Joffrey decided to go on a little hunt of his own to make his father proud. In an attempt to curry favor with the young prince, who was expected to be the future ruler of Westeros, one of the royal cooks tells Joffrey about a pregnant cat that often wandered playfully around the kitchen. In his defense, the cook thought the young prince would find her lovely and play around with her, but obviously he would go on to perform one of his most twisted atrocities. But the young Joffrey couldn't believe that a cat so thinly carried other cats inside of it. So, in an attempt to disprove this traitor of a cook who dared deceive the great Joffrey, he grabbed the poor animal by the throat and cut its belly open. You could only imagine how relieved the cook was when little kittens were indeed inside it. In his mind, Joffrey had done pretty well and performed his royal duty worthy of his father's name. He had suspected betrayal and gone out of his way to dig the truth, and that would be his first great hunt. However, after taking the now deceased cat to his father, awaiting praise, he met a gigantic slap instead. Stannis Baratheon says that King Robert slapped the boy so hard that he literally flew away by several feet, and almost everyone who witnessed it thought the young prince had died to his father's anger. After rushing in hurry and worried, Cersei confirmed that her precious son was still alive and breathing. Then she stood up with flames spewing from her eyes and told King Robert that if he ever laid hands on her golden prince again, she would kill him in his sleep. Robert mentioned this story again to Ned Stark during the Hands tourney in the books, where he also displayed his wishes of abandoning the crown and sailing to the free cities where he would go about his days as a common mercenary. However, he also said that the thought of Joffrey ruling the kingdoms while heeding Cersei's advice scared him much more than 10 Mad Kings. He concluded this story by saying, "Just how in the 7 hells could I have made a son like that?" As for what I would rank as his most ridiculous moment in the books, it's none other than his acts during the wedding of his own brother Stannis Baratheon, who had heeded Jon Arryn and accepted a bond between him and Lady Selyse of House Florent. For those unaware of how Robert's rebellion went, during the start of the war, Robert met an early defeat at the Battle of Ashford, which was against House Tyrell and its vassal houses, the very same house who had also attempted to conquer Storm's End while Robert was regrouping in the Riverlands. It was befitting of the king to punish the Tyrells for their actions in the war. However, Robert's power was far from being consolidated, which is why Jon Arryn wed Stannis to Lady Selyse belonging of the Florent household, which was an ancient noble house that rivaled House Tyrell and their claims on the Reach. To keep it short, let's just say that Jon Arryn was the original Tywin in the books, and behind every decision of Robert that carried wit was none other than his wisdom and schemes. Moving swiftly forward, during his brother's wedding, Robert found that his sister-in-law had a pretty young lady for a niece whose age was very inappropriate by modern standards. And while their wedding vows were carrying on, the great King Robert took his niece-in-law and tested the wedding chambers before the newlywed even had the chance to consummate their marriage.